Soviet Republic, fought Russia, one of the world's largest militaries. The war lasted just 5 days, but the scale of the clash revealed the imbalance of power and set the stage for future conflicts. The roots of the war were ethnic and geopolitical. Two breakaway regions, South Ossetia and Abkhazia, had fought to separate from Georgia in the 1990s. Russia supported them, while Georgia's president Mikhail Saakashvili pushed to reassert control and join NATO. On August 7, 2008, after weeks of skirmishes, Georgia launched a full assault on Tskhinvali, South Ossetia's capital, using artillery and ground troops. Their plan: seize the city quickly before Russia could respond. Georgia's military had about 37,000 troops, with around 200 tanks, mostly old Soviet T-72s, and a small air force of just a few dozen combat aircraft. Their equipment was modernized with Western training, but limited in numbers. Russia, in contrast, deployed elements of its 58th Army, totaling over 70,000 troops, 1,500 tanks and armored vehicles, and hundreds of aircraft. They also had peacekeepers already in South Ossetia, giving them a forward base. The imbalance was staggering. Georgia hoped speed and surprise would succeed before Russia's full might came down on them. At first, Georgia shelled Tskhinvali heavily, moving tanks and infantry into the city. But Russian reinforcements surged through the Roki tunnel, bringing tanks, artillery, and paratroopers. Fierce urban combat erupted. Russian air power struck deep into Georgia, hitting bases, radars, and supply depots. Georgia's small air force was quickly neutralized. Within the first 2 days they lost several aircraft and could no longer contest the skies. Meanwhile, in the west, Russian and Abkhaz forces launched an offensive into the Kadori Gorge, the last Georgian-held pocket of Abkhazia, forcing Georgian troops to retreat. By August 10th, Georgia was in full retreat from South Ossetia. Russian tanks and mechanized infantry pushed into Georgia proper, seizing Gori, a key hub only 60 kilometers from Tbilisi. Georgia pulled back to defend the capital, while civilians fled en masse. Despite superior training, Georgian units were outnumbered and outgunned, unable to hold ground. On August 12th, a French-brokered ceasefire ended the war. Georgia had lost around 170 soldiers, while Russia lost about 67, but the real toll was on civilians, with hundreds killed and over 100,000 displaced. Strategically, Georgia permanently lost South Ossetia and Abkhazia, while Russia stationed troops there. The war was a warning sign of Russia's new playbook, using separatist conflicts as leverage, striking quickly with overwhelming force, and punishing neighbors who leaned toward NATO or the West. This same pattern would reappear years later in Ukraine, first in Crimea in 2014, then in the full-scale invasion of 2022. The seeds of today's war were visible in Georgia in 2008, a reminder that history often repeats itself when lessons go unheeded.